Welcome to the Whitetail Advantage Podcast with your host, Brett Bovin. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy the show.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Whitetail Advantage Podcast. I'm your host, Brett Bovin. The Deucer is finally here with us tonight. I didn't fire him. He's still here, but he's flirting with that line of me possibly firing him. So anyways, hi, kid. Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in to the show, each week we do a live show Monday through Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Each week we cover a new state. This week we are in Minnesota, and it's been an amazing week so far. It's the last show of the week for us. We have an amazing guest, but before we get into that, I gotta do my boring intro spiel stuff. Blah, blah. Anyways, if this is your first time tuning in, I do ask, though, as the listener, the audience out there, to put your quarter in the slot machine. And what I mean by that is to help share the show. I strongly believe, I've said this before, that hunting is a dying sport, a dying lifestyle, and we need your help to spread the word about hunting. And how we feel you can help do that is to share the show and get the word out there. For everyone out there that is doing that, we greatly appreciate it, and I can't say thank you enough. And we love to support everyone out there. And we are a part of the pro staff with Gilly Puck. So if you use the code GP10, GP10, you can get 10% discount off their products. And with that being said, I'd like to run a quick little video for them. Let's go ahead and check them out. Use the code GP10, get 10% discount off their products. Also, go ahead and check out MAGNUS Broadheads. We are in no way a partner or relation anything with them. I just love their broadheads very much, and they have my stamp of approval, basically. So go ahead and use those. Go ahead and try them out. We also have some news coming down the road, too. Last night was an amazing night, seeing some emails pop through, so we're just going to leave it at that. Leave a little teaser what's possibly going to be coming up. We are going to be working with Grizz Media. So go ahead and check them out, their website. And with that being said, that's enough of my boring intro spiel. Blah. All right, that's enough of that. It is Wednesday. Man, am I getting tired or what? No, I'm just kidding. It's Wednesday, June 5th, last day of Minnesota week. We have an amazing guest tonight. So let's bring in our guest tonight, Jordan. What's up, Jordan?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me tonight. Very excited to join your show and be able to talk about northern Minnesota a little bit.
Thanks for taking the time to come on the show, man. I really appreciate it. For anyone that doesn't know you, can you give a little background about yourself, brother?
Yeah, so what I do full-time up here in the Brainerd Lakes area, northern central Minnesota, is I'm a full-time land agent. So basically I help people buy and sell hunting land, rec land, some tillable ground, hobby farms, kind of anything with land is kind of my niche and what I have a lot of passion and pride in. I'm a big conservationist and land manager myself, so that's kind of how I got in the industry to begin with. Doing a lot of land consults, a lot of property management, things of that nature. And when my wife and I moved up to the area, I wanted to bring it up here, and now I've kind of created that roots and kind of ran with it here. And I love what I do every day, and I get to be outside and get to talk hunting every day with other like-minded people. So been very fortunate about that aspect of my life.
How long have you been doing a land agent?
Yeah, so I've been a land agent for about 2.5 years now. I've been in the land management industry for probably over 10 years now, I'd say. I've been tied to the hunting industry just basically since I was 18 years old. Right out of high school and college, I was able to get a nice opportunity and a job to work for the outdoor industry in a marketing division, doing some trade shows and things like that. And that kind of put my foot in the door in the outdoor industry. And I was been very fortunate from there on out to be tied into it and work with some awesome companies and do some awesome things along the way. So been pretty fortunate from a early in my career to be tied with other like-minded people.
How did you, for anyone that wants to get in that type of line of work, what's like the first thing that you would tell somebody to start doing?
Yeah, so I would say a big thing with me is, at an early age, I loved going to all those different shows and those trade shows and things like that. But just at an early age, just networking with the right people, and obviously there's a lot of different companies, a lot of different opportunities out there. But just meeting other like-minded people basically helped me get my foot in the door, and kind of one opportunity led to another. And when you put yourself out there at an early age, people are willing to invest in you, and once you get that opportunity, just run with it and work hard. And basically it's a very close group of people in the outdoor industry to begin with. So one connection will lead to another, and basically at the end of the day, have a lot of other opportunities available to you.
What's it like day in and day out doing that?
Yeah, so day in and day out of my current career, it's a lot of connecting with people and seeing kind of what they're looking for in the land side of things. And working with a lot of sellers that want to obviously get the maximum profit of their investment or their property. So I would say 90% of my day is being outside and walking properties or meeting with landowners and kind of going over their goals or what they're looking at getting. But a lot of too, obviously connecting with buyers and saying, hey, how big of acreage are you looking for? Or what type of acreage are you looking for? Are you looking for, kind of a turnkey property or a blank slate property, or what do you see your self doing in the next few years, and how can I help get to that point? And then a lot of setting them up with if they don't have the cash on hand, helping them get up with a land lender or a land manager that's going to help get their property to where they want it to be. So it's a lot of communicating, but it's obviously a lot of people that I enjoy being around and being able to talk hunting every day. I mean, I can't can't complain there. My wife and friends probably get sick of it, but I'm honestly living the dream every day, doing something I love. So I couldn't be more fortunate.
Oh, I'm jealous, man. Well, I know I said this, man. I gotta get my chair fixed. Sorry about that. Um, I know I said this on earlier in the week that Minnesota is a state that I really, really want to buy some land out there. So Jordan, what do I need to do? I'm in contact with you. I reached out to you. What do I need to
Yeah.
do?
No, absolutely. Yeah, I guess the biggest thing, right now is kind of narrowing down what area you want to be in or what county. And from there, it's, I'm getting to work, either finding stuff on the market or a lot of off market opportunities for you too. Reaching out to some landowners in some areas that I've hunted before, no context in the area, and seeing if they'd be willing to parcel off a chunk or sell their chunk. But ultimately, as a goal of being, an agent for you, I want to make sure I find you a great chunk that you're going to be happy with and that you're going to create memories on and have great hunting opportunity too. So I never want to, set up my clients for, not success. I want to make sure they're happy with their investment and have great opportunities too. So, I'll help you kind of coordinate those next steps. And even, if you need a land lender in the area, I'll hook you up with a few great ones I work with, and they're able to offer some great products and some great interest rates and terms on those type of things. And then the rest is just some behind the scenes work of me and making sure it all lines up and meets your goals, and getting you out there and seeing if you like the property or not. And once we get to that point, then I really know what you're looking for, and I can basically explode off of that.
I know for me, my main goal would be to something long term, being able
Sure.
to see myself start off there. I want to basically start off with scratch and then eventually move out to Minnesota down the road. And another question that would lead me to is, do you have connections with people where how they can help set up your land to manage it in the correct way?
Yeah,
Or is that
yeah,
something you
absolutely.
do on the side as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do. So a main part of what I do, obviously I help people buy and sell land, but a main part of also a key component of my business that kind of got me to where I'm at today is the land consulting and the land management part of it too. So if it's in a reasonable distance, I will help you sell up your property and kind of put you in touch with all the right people that need to either put food plots in. But I'll basically come up to your property and do a full consultation to see exactly what you need to do and kind of how to set up for success. And I'll do a lot of that myself too. And if there's something that I don't have time for or that I can't put the food plots in because it's X, Y, and Z away, I will help coordinate those logistics and get someone in there that can do it. So yeah, I definitely want to make sure each property that I help someone get is going to be fully set up for their hunting needs, especially if they're out of state. Because I work with a lot of people that aren't from the local area, so a lot of times either I'm setting cameras for them or kind of creating a plan for them, and then consulting with other people to come in and put the food plots in and make sure it's all ready for them to rock come fall.
Hmm. Well, I know once I get to that point, I know the first person I'm calling.
Hey, I greatly appreciate that, man.
So you've been out there in Minnesota your entire life, correct?
Yeah, a majority of my life. I was originally born in western Wisconsin, where both my parents are from. We got hunting land over there. So, but yeah, majority of my life and career has been in Minnesota. Yep.
What is are you a private land hunter, public land, mix of both?
Yeah, I'm definitely a mix of both. So I got obviously some private land that I have and own. I also got some permission pieces, but where I live, there's just so much public land opportunity that a lot of times I'll get a decent buck on private land, but honestly, I'm kind of one of those grinders. I love the challenge of public land. I love packing in deep parts of public ground, figuring it out, putting cameras out, the scouting, all of that stuff. So I kind of have a passion and a thrill to go find a public land buck and go kill it. So recently, kind of my biggest niche has been, I've grouse hunt some chunks and kind of scout around the way. So, I can grouse hunt and scout for big bucks along the way. But this year I got into a really, some really decent bucks that's actually close to where I own land too. And it's kind of been my new passion and something I'm really looking forward to this fall is getting a little bit more dialed in and be able to kill one of those 4.5, 5-year-old public land bucks that live back in the swamps that people don't even think about or don't check out. So that's really what kind of gets me going, especially come fall time.
And I know being able to get into the swampy areas, you feel like that's a spot where it's like, all right, no one knows about it, but they know about it at the same time. So it's a surprise to see, like, all right, these mature bucks are going to be in that swampy area, but yet you don't see a lot of people going in there. So it's
For
like,
sure. Yeah, for sure. Like where I where I hunt and stuff, it's a very heavily, I would say, very populated, heavily pressure property or area, and it's about 2,000 acres. So I mean, it's a big chunk. But I would say a lot of people kind of get weaned out or cut off for hunting a whitetail once you get past the mile marker. I mean, it's a hike in there, and once you get past that, I'm like you're dealing with a lot of grouse hunters at that point and people that just don't have the passion, the drive, and that's really what I kind of look for is these chunks that have the great habitat, have the great resources to hold and keep mature deer, but also that's going to weed out a lot of those people that aren't willing to put in the work or the effort to get back in there and do a hang and bang or go scout or put out cameras and things like that. And that's what I found in this area is yeah, there's a lot of people, but there's not a lot of people that care about whitetails as much as I do. So knowing that, I'm willing to put in the extra work and go find one of those deer and hopefully be able to kill them.
the Squatch made a comment here. He said, was just wondering, what is hunting land going for an acre in Minnesota? Thanks from the Squatch. He's coming on the show for New York, so I'm looking forward to that.
Perfect. Well, it greatly, obviously, like any state, it varies so much where you're at location wise. Where I'm at in the current area in north central Brainerd Lakes area, it's about 4,000 an acre. Could go up to 4,500 acre. You go down to southern Minnesota, you're looking at anywhere from 6 to 7,000 acre. You go up north of where I'm at, it goes cheap as 1,000 per acre. So it really depends on the type of habitat, the county, kind of what you got out there. Obviously, once you get into the tillable ground, it gets a lot more pricey. But I would say on average, if you want a decent hunting track in like central Minnesota, north central Minnesota, you could probably find something pretty decent for about 2,000 per acre.
That's not bad.
No, it's really pretty realistic, compared to, for say Wisconsin, South Dakota, North Dakota. And that's why I think I'm helping a lot of out-of-state buyers at the moment too, is because their price per acre in their state's a lot less than ours. So a lot of people are seeing the hunting opportunities and the opportunity to buy an over-counter tag and be able to hunt a 2 or 3 deer unit where you can shoot a few does and a buck and be happy with it. So it's really been kind of a fun journey on that aspect of things too, because I like to hunt a lot of different states in Minnesota too, so I can kind of relate to that.
I know. Well, before I get to mine, Big D 5605 says, "Is the cost per acre way up north due to the wolf issue? I've been hearing so much about it."
Yeah, I would say a little bit about that. Obviously, wolves have existed for a long time. There's a lot of wolves out west. There's a lot of wolves up in Canada. They're becoming obviously more populated, I would say, but also people are hunting a little bit different than they used to back in the day. The DNR is obviously switching zones every year of how many deer you can shoot and things like that. But ultimately, the price per acre in northern Minnesota has always been less just due to demographics, the population, the overall wealth in the area, things of that nature. And obviously, they can't grow crops like we can in central to southern Minnesota too, so that plays an impact on it. But historically speaking, land has always been cheaper up north. But obviously, yeah, there is wolves, and that is an issue that we're kind of dealing with, or kind of figuring out as we go, kind of speak here. And I wish they would open up a wolf season, but obviously that takes some moving parts with the DNR and the federal fish and wildlife things. But I'd like to see a wolf season because it'd be fun, and I'd be the first one to buy a tag for that because the freaking wolves are awesome. But yeah, as a hunter and growing up hunting the area, I don't have a hate for them. I think they're majestic. I think they're cool. They play their part in the ecosystem. But obviously, I do have that whitetail mindset that they do scare deer away, and they will run out deer in certain areas. Kind of once you get up way north up to that almost Canadian border, you'll definitely see an impact of wolf activity and kind of pressure on those areas, kind of pushing deer out of the area. But other than that, a lot of areas are still thriving in hunting ground, and there's still some huge bucks to be killed. Like St. Louis County is in that northeast part of Minnesota, and that's number 2 in the state in Boone and Crockett. People don't know that, and they overlook it so much, but that is a freaking honey hole in the state of Minnesota. So southern Minnesota produces a lot of whitetails, but that northeast part of Minnesota produces some freaking slammers. I mean, every year you hear about a 170 to 180 to even a 190 be killed up there, and it's just some average Joe guy that was hunting his property, and a freaking big old chalker rack with a lot of mass walks by, and he drops her. So definitely something to be on the key and out, or to look out for. And something I hear often too is a lot of these deer get killed and they don't get reported because people don't care so much about the record; they care about the memories. But there's definitely some great hunting opportunities to be had in northeastern Minnesota for sure.
Well, thanks, Jordan, for ruining the surprise I had with a little secret I had, because that was the area I was specifically looking at. So
Hey, there's
everyone
there's
that's
plenty of
listening
ground up there.
No, I remember looking at online because, like I said, that was an area I was looking at. I noticed I saw like 100 acres for sale, and it was $125. I was like, geez, that's almost dirt cheap compared to where I've been looking at in other places in other states. I was like, I'm going here, man. This is where I'm gonna start looking at.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing how cheap it is, and it's realistically the price per acre really drives on kind of what's sold in the area and what's comparable on the market. But like I said before, there's just not a lot of population or a lot of people that live up there, so there's just not a necessary to drive the market high as what it could be or should be. Um, but kind of speaking on that too, it's just one of those areas that it's a lot different terrain or whatnot than for say southern Minnesota and things like that. So it just kind of plays a role on what the price per acre can be or should be.
Yeah. Hey, Deucer, can you pop that comment back up again? Big D made a comment here. Those are Canadian moose that are killing up in St. Louis County. LOL.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, I'll remember, yeah, last year I sold a chunk all up in Grand Marais, which is way up there, in northeast Minnesota. And I remember looking at the property, like when I first got there, because we just got a fresh coat of snow. I'm like, what the hell are these tracks? And like, the tracks were like freaking like this. And I'm like, those are freaking moose tracks. So I was sitting there following moose tracks. I'm like, this is awesome, like, that's just the opportunities you dream about that you don't get often. So I was literally following moose tracks on the property. I'm like, this is just something that's just that I dream of. So it's cool to have that opportunity too, because up in that kind of northeast part of Minnesota, there is a lot of moose that are starting to rebound and rebounce to the population too. So it's cool to see. But yeah, based on his comment, I mean, growing up when we would hunt up in that area, I mean, if you shot like a decent buck, it'd be 2 bills plus, 250. We're talking about those deer just get to be a different breed. They're like freaking cows up there, and their necks are just massive once it come running time too. So it's cool to see that different species of deer throughout or a different breed of deer throughout the state too.
I remember because I grew up in the UP 4 months out of the year, basically, and my grandma, that's where my grandparents lived. She lived basically on this private lake, and here's the private lake, and she lived like down the road on this little small trail. Anyways, she would walk down to the trail and watch this private lake, and she looked across the lake and she saw this giant moose right across the lake. And she took pictures. I was like, where the F was I at? I want to see this. And then I go up there all the time. Just like, let's go to the lake. I want to see a moose. And you never see one, but I'd see black bears everywhere though.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's really majestic. I remember the first time I saw a moose when I was younger, I was like, holy smokes, like that thing is just enormous. Like your perception is just completely thrown off when you see one of those. Because I mean, they're like standing at 6, 7 feet tall, and you're just, you're just minute compared to all. I remember I was fishing one time in northern Minnesota, and we're casting. And kind of look over in the reeds. I'm like, what the heck is that? All of a sudden, a moose pops his head up. I'm like, that's 6, 7 feet tall water, and it's just standing there like it's nothing. Once I saw that, I'm like, this is just, it's crazy. It's honestly the out of all the animals kind of in North America, that's still one of my dreams to shoot. Obviously Minnesota doesn't do a moose season anymore, but I would love to go up to Alaska or Canada and shoot a moose because those things are just so freaking huge and they're so cool looking.
They're so majestic, like you said. And yeah, that's definitely on my bucket list is to go hunt a moose. And it'd be nice to have a moose season here in Michigan. It'd be nice to have a moose season there in Minnesota when I get land there. Like, I get to hunt moose.
Yeah,
But
no, absolutely, and that's the thing too. Obviously, the population, went up and down there in the early 2000s, but I'm thinking it's really on the uphill of things from what I've heard and from what some of those DNR officers have said lately too. So that'd be awesome. I hope in a few years here we can start to hunt them again, or at least be able to apply for them. That'd be really cool. And like you said too, it's like an animal that big that just literally eats vegetation gets that big. It's just unbelievable to me. Like they literally just eat, all kinds of greens and grasses and stuff, and they get that freaking big. That's pretty cool.
yeah. So let's get into your hunting style, your hunting tactics. So do you do a lot of e-scouting?
Yeah, I would say initially, so like a lot of properties that I either get permission on or lease, or even some of the properties that I manage to, I do a lot of e-scouting to begin with. But ultimately, the best way for me to kind of get a better feel from the property is, probably winter, early spring, to just put boots on the ground and be able to walk the whole thing, kind of see how the lay of the land, lays out in the terrain and the topo, and be able to see a lot of that sign firsthand too. And once you kind of pick up on some of that sign, you'll know how to set up come early, later in the spring or early in the summer too, and where I want to put my stands or where I want to put my food plots or kill plots. I'm a big fan of doing kill plots instead of huge food plots. I just found them a lot more effective up in this neck of the woods. Once you start getting those bigger food plots, it's just harder to hunt those deer. But once you get more of less of a little like quarter-acre kill plot going, it's a lot more manageable and a lot easier to pattern those deer up here since it is such dense woods. And there's not a whole ton of egg. But whenever you bring food up here, it seems to be dynamite and a lot of more deer numbers too, which will lead to better results from what I found. But yeah, I think it's a critical part in the scouting journey for sure. Obviously, sawing land, that's a huge part of what I do. First thing I get a call, or first thing I'm looking at party out or a property out, e-scouted or look on Onyx and kind of look at the topo and the features, what's not let, how you access it, all of those different kind of things go into it.
You said kill plot. So what exactly are you? What is a kill plot for you? What's that setup
Yeah.
like?
Yeah, so a cue plot for me is mainly something in the, kind of the dense woods that I carve out or make out. That's, probably about, a quarter acre or under, either a nice little, clover chicory plot or a little backwoods plot that has some berascas in it. But something basically that I can set up and hunt over with a bow or archery style, and that I know that they're going to funnel into, and it's going to give me a kill opportunity or a shot opportunity. Obviously in other states or Western Wisconsin, where I have bigger food plots, some of those are acre, 2 acres. Well, that's not very realistic to shoot a bow over. You're looking at 100, 200 yards away with some of those opportunities. So what I found in northern Minnesota, that's a lot more better opportunity, is creating these little cure plots that kind of, lay in between bedding areas or transition areas. Leads to a lot better success and a lot better opportunity is what I found, and that's kind of what I'm a fan of now. And I kind of preach to my clients too, is if you can put food in these dense forest areas and give them a reason to, get up and get out of their bedding areas or kind of transition to, you're going to have a lot better opportunities at a decent buck than, if you didn't have that there.
I might have missed it, but how big are you designing these kill plots?
Yeah, I would say anything about a quarter acre and under. They're not very big. They're really based on property and kind of what you need to do or what you need to carve out. But I would say that, probably the biggest one's probably about a quarter of an acre, which is still a pretty decent sized plot. But they're not enormous by any means, but they're going to give you the best shot opportunities and best opportunities for the wind, to be able to kill mature deer if you got one cooking.
What else are you doing out there on your private land that is setting you up for success outside of these kill plots? Because you don't really hear a whole lot of people doing those. So
Yep.
what else are you kind of doing?
Yeah, so a lot of what I have been a big fan of is I'll do a ton of TSI work, creating extra browse and extra bedding areas. Another big thing I've been doing lately too is a lot of vines and what do you call 'em, mock scrapes and hemp ropes, things of that nature to get better inventory and kind of a better pattern where these deer are going. But I would say a very overlooked part that I have been doing in kind of the land management sector has been the TSI work and real. I used to be very keen on planting more trees, kind of creating more habitat, but in reality, it's a lot of the habitat's already there. You just need to create it yourself, and creating a better, healthier forest with more bedding areas and more browse and more opportunities for those deer to feel safe and secure is really what the key to success has been or is going to be too. Is creating what you already have in front of you and making it better. Obviously when you plant a tree, it's going to be like a 5 to 10 year thing. It's not going to be instant, but when you do some of that TSI work and you start stacking trees or creating different bedding areas and creating different browse, I mean, that's almost an instant effect. And what I've noticed lately too is it really changes things and changes the pattern of the deer, kind of where they're feeling comfortable with. And then you can ultimately kind of stage how that's going too. So if you create a bedding area here and you put a kill pot there, well, they're gonna bed where you created that little habitat area, and you got a food plot not far from there. They're naturally gonna come, after they're done bedding, they're gonna come browse on that food plot, and you're just far enough away that you're not gonna blow out that bedding area, and you're gonna have an opportunity at killing those deer too. So a main thing I've been focused on is a lot more TSI work than creating more habitat by planting things, because that's a long-term fix, and I like more of a short-term, kind of instant result kind of thing.
When you say TSI, what do you mean by that?
So timber stand improvement. So some trees need to be hinge cut that create more growth and things of that nature. But we have a lot of popple and a lot of pine up here, which are great trees just to freaking chop and kind of create more of a, once you chop them down, kind of bush them all up and create more of a bedding secluded area that they're going to feel safe to bed against or bed by, and then also browse on them too, and eat some of those new growth in green parts of the trees and still get something out of it, but be able to feel safe and secure and have food and a bedding source.
Because I know on my property, I know two areas where I generally hunt. I have an amazing thick cover with briars and stuff like that where the does like to bed. And
Yep.
like there's like a little hill, and on the back side of that spot, the bucks like to bed. And then about 20 yards east of there, that's where I have my little stand, and it's a nice little open clearing there. And then it starts going up this hill, and on the back side of it, it kind of levels out. And the bucks love to really bed on the back side of that hill because we primarily have a west wind, so they're going to be
Yep.
staying on that back side. And I noticed for me, just finding those funnel points basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, once you kind of pattern and see where, what stands or what wind directions are going to work best with your property, you use that to your advantage and do some of that TSI work too, and create basically better habitat in those areas like you just described. Like the bucks are bedding on that side. Maybe bulk up that habitat back there and cut some trees down and kind of make it a little bit thicker, a little more dense, so that they feel a little bit more secure. And a lot of times too, you hang a camera back there, you'll kind of realize that, hey, that's where a lot of those big guys are hanging out. So now naturally, where those big deer are, and you're able to, have a little bit better opportunity knowing that that's where they're bedding and that's where they're coming from. So come rut time, you want to track the does to your little kill plots and things of that nature. But you're just one step ahead of the game at that point when you got it all kind of leveled out and laid out like that.
Not gonna lie though, I was going through trail cameras at the end of the year, and what was it? I saw it last month or the month before, and it was November 13th, I think. I can't remember exactly. And it was 1:00 in the morning, and I see these 3 does just run right in front of my stand. And to kind of paint a picture, the camera was facing north, and my little small area that I was hunting at, like I just described, like I told you, the bucks were bedding on that side. This huge freaking 10-pointer just walks right out in front of it, stands there, looks at the camera basically, and then looks at the does and starts chasing the does. I literally almost took my laptop and threw it against the wall. And I was like, really? I couldn't see you at all during the rut, but you like to pop up during these times? I swear, man, besides my pet peeve with deer is when I see them on the side of the road and you don't know if they're going to bolt out in front of you or just stand there. That's my biggest pet peeve with them. The second is when I see them at middle of night and they're just right in front of my stand. Then that's where I really want to punch my computer.
Absolutely. No, that happens some of the big deer I've killed in my life have been, are they ever gonna come out in the daylight? Like, or is this thing just a ghost, or what's going on here? And then, sure enough, come rut time, they'll slip up like early in the morning or just midday, it'd be cruising by. And you have to remember too, I used to get so caught up on my cameras and my trick cameras. I'm like, oh, I'm not getting any big bucks. I'm not even gonna hunt through that. Well, in the past few years, I'm like, no, I'm gonna go hunt, because you think about it, a trail camera covers what, 100 feet in front of you. And you think of these deer's radius, say if you're hunting a 100-acre property, well, even if you have 10 cameras out, they're only covering 100 yards in front of you. So something that I've really kind of told myself is like, don't get so fed up on the cameras. Use them as a tool, but go out there and hunt. If you got a great wind and you know that it's a great killing opportunity, go out there and freaking hunt, because a lot of times these bucks, they cover a big radius in the rut. They're cruising for does, they're scent checking, they're checking bedding areas, they're doing all that stuff. They're checking food plots. I've killed a lot of big deer that I didn't even know they were there, but they just, come by because that they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're cruising the woods and whatnot, but they're, just 10 yards away from my camera, but they're not, it's not capturing it. So, that's something I really have keened on the past few years, and it's really helped me, because I used to get so set on, shoot, I don't got anything decent on camera, I'm not even gonna go hunt. Well, I should have been hunting because there's freaking big deer out there. I'm just not seeing them, But yeah, that's something I really preach to, some of my clients, and even, some of my family members too, is like, no, there's big deal out there. There's signs all over the place. Just go out there and freaking hunt it.
Right. And that's like when you see these hunting apps come out, and I've said it before, where you see, all right, it's got a 90% chance of seeing a deer. All right, I want to go hunt that day. And you don't see jack shit. Then you are trusting your gut. It's like, all right, my gut is telling me to go hunt, but this app's telling me I got less than 5% of seeing a deer. So, all right, I'm not going to waste the PTO time. I'm just going to stay at work, and I'm going to wait. Next thing you know, you're going through your trail camera photos, and they're just, bam, deer, deer, deer. I was like, dang it, I should have freaking trusted my gut and went out there.
Yep. No, absolutely. And like, not to damper the mood or anything, but you got to think of it from a business standpoint too. Is a lot of these companies, a lot of these products, they're trying to make money. They're trying to get people to invest in their product and things like that. No, don't get me wrong. A lot of them do work great and things of that nature too, but they're a business too, so they got to make money. Of course, animals or deer especially, they're unpredictable. I mean, you can pattern them, you can predict them. but they're animals. They're wild. You can't tell me what they're going to do tomorrow because they're just going to do whatever the hell they want to do. So, a part of me, yeah, they're great tools and they can help with barometric pressure and, based on other, statistics on the year and things of that nature too. But the biggest part is you ain't going to kill them on the couch. You're not going to kill them sitting behind your desk. You got to get up freaking out there. And if it's the right wind, go hunt that stand. Go, sneak in there and be confident about it because most of the time or most likely they're going to be in that area. It's just a matter of you don't know that. And that's half the battle right there is just, having that element of surprise or even doing a hanging bang in the area that you didn't think that's going to produce deer. That's my favorite thing to do is come rut time. If I know that, there's a possibility of killing a big buck in there, I'll go do a hang and hunt, and a lot of times I have either a really good opportunity or I see get a lot of good intel out of the deal too. So, yeah, I'd say a majority of that is just playing the wind, being smart about it, but also getting aggressive during the rut too.
And about the win, I've said this. I think I said it on Monday's show. I think we make hunting. Big D, always trust your gut, Brett. Yeah, I
Yep.
wish I did because
Okay.
I've seen some monsters come across that trail camera that day, and I almost chucked my phone into the toilet. Big D, Jordan, do you put any stock in the ozonics or ozone creating devices?
I do. I have used Ozonics for a few years now, and used to be good friends with a guy that worked at Ozonics. I am a believer in their product too. I mean, especially how much I sweat and how much I'm out in the woods. I'll throw some of my gear in one of the ozone bags, and it does take away a lot of the odor or eliminates it. And just to have that ease of mind too is if it is a strong wind and I can put my ozone unit in there and hopefully be able to you know eliminate some of that, it gives me a little ease of mind. But at the end of the day, I think a whitetail's nose is it's hard to fool, but it's given me a peace of mind. I guess sometimes like hunting over a food plot and stuff, and there's multiple deer out there. They should be selling me, but I have a ozone unit and it's helping a little bit. But yeah, at the end of the day, is it really comes down to the wind and things of that nature. Ozone units will help for sure, but it really is dependent on the deer and how much they feel comfortable with.
And the comment I was going to make earlier was, I think as hunters now, because we have so much technology out these days, I think we make hunting too scientific, too technical. Because at the end of the day, don't get me wrong, yes, hunt the wind and stuff like that, do the best thing possible. I'm not going against that, but I'm saying trust your gut and sometimes just get out there in the stand, because these deer, like you said perfectly earlier, these deer are unpredictable. So you might be thinking, all right, I got a west wind, so all right, I can hunt this stand, or I can't hunt this stand. They might be coming from a completely different direction, and now Big D, the analysis paralysis, that's perfect. You get so caught up into that, and you just, all right, I'm not thinking of anything else. If these deer are just, they'll do whatever they want whenever they want. So as long as you're just putting in the time and the work, like you said, you can't shoot them from your couch.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think the best example that kind of just mind blown me is my wife has killed the booner before me, and it was her second deer ever. And the story behind that deer is I grew that deer. He was 6.5 when she shot him. I hunted that deer hard for 2.5 years with the bow, with the gun, everything. And he did the most unpredictable thing that no mature buck should do. He literally came underneath our rifle stand about 75 yards away in a tractor trail that you could drive a freaking semi through, that no deer ever goes through, or it just doesn't make sense, and the wind was blowing right towards his face. The wind was wrong, that it was horrible conditions, it was swirling, and we're on the ridge, and all of our scent was going right down there, so there's no reason why he should have been right there. It was sleeting. My wife literally climbed down the stand, had to go pee. Like everything was wrong in the world. And all of a sudden, 5 minutes later, there's that buck in the middle of the trail, and she just freaking drops him in his tracks. It's like replaying that in my mind. I'm like, everything that I stood behind or was hunting, my tactics just went out the window because I'm like, this just doesn't make sense. And she killed a 180 right freaking there, 70 yards away, and it didn't make any sense. But we're thankful for it and we're happy for it. And we actually got that deer in a full body mount too, because he meant so much to us for how much we've chased them, and kind of all my family was after him. And he was called Hank the Tank. He got hit by a neighbor in the broad, or from a broadhead in the back. He got hit by a car. I mean, the thing was just a freaking tank. So we had no other option to do a full body mount for the kids to enjoy and have Cabela's in our living room. But yeah, that's an example that kind of just changed my whole perspective of hunting these mature deers. They're so unpredictable that you think you're doing everything right, but at the end of the day, they're going to do whatever the heck they want to do.
Yeah, and the reason I say is because, and that, first off, that's an amazing story to get a deer to get hit by a car and he's still walking around and for her to put it on the ground. That's amazing, dude.
Absolutely, yeah. That thing, it was through the ringer and back, but we're thankful that's in our house now and not on the side of the road.
Oh man, a full body mount though, real quick. That's got to be pretty. I've seen the prices on those things. That's not cheap.
It was a I call it a good investment. It was a good investment. We bring it to some of the trade shows and things like that, and it really just to put, we're really big conservationists and we have a lot of respect for whitetails and we live and breathe whitetails, and just being able to wake up and see that thing and kind of just like, holy crap, I put that much time and energy into that deer, and be able to appreciate him every day. It means a lot to me and my wife, and obviously I don't know. I think I counted up the days and hours I spent chasing that deer, and it's just like, holy crap! Like it added up, and I'm like, there's no better way. And especially we got a good taxidermist that we work with too in southern Minnesota, and I'm like, there is just no better way to present that thing, to have him, his actual self in our house every single day, and our kids just freaking love it too. So I mean, it was icing the cake. When we brought it to the taxidermy at first, I told my wife that, because she was like just still in awe about it. It's a freaking huge deer, and her second deer ever. She was in the impression that we were going to do like a nice, what do you call it? A nice pedestal mount, or, put it on a whiskey barrel or something like that. And she was kind of looking at other stuff. And I'm like, no, let's do a freaking full body mount. And she didn't know that. And we had the whole deer there, and the tax nurse starts working on it, and she was still in La La Land. So she had no idea. Then when we went to pick it up, and she's like, it's a full body mount. I'm like, so you bet the boots it is. But she loves it every day now too. And once, I always tell people too, once you get your wife on board with hunting and into it too, you're freaking set, because you can buy all this stuff and do whatever you want, and once she's on board, it works a lot better down that way.
I'm trying to get my wife into it. She said she's like, well, I really want to do a crossbow. I said, don't say that word in this household. And then she said, she's like, all right, fine, I'll just go use a gun. I said, Cherry, how long have we been together? I don't hunt with a gun, so you're using two words that do not go in this family. How dare you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
the cross gun and the gun.
Exactly. I was like, all right, if she wants to get into it and she wants to do the crossbow, at least let's get her out there.
Right.
And then it's funny because she'll ask me, like, what are you looking for your birthday or for hunting season? I said, just don't buy anything. I know what I want. I'm very particular what I buy. Just give me the money that I like. Let me have the $120, whatever. I'll buy it myself, and you can count it as your birthday gift to myself. So,
yeah, absolutely. I know that's so funny you said that too, because of course after my wife shot that one, she's like, I want to try bow hunting. I'm like, oh, of course you do. So you can shoot a bigger freaking deer than me with your bow too. But she got like what is it, the Matthew V3X or whatever, and she's pulling it back and shooting it, and I'm like, damn, she's shooting it really good too. And she's pulling back 6 pounds. I'm like, shoot, you're ready to rock now. So this year my main goal is to get her first doe or buck or whatever, and that's kind of a really big thing that as I got older is I really appreciate more. It's getting people that haven't experienced some of those things to experience them. And I don't know, for me, like, I love killing big deer and things like that, but I get a lot more joy too out of it, is giving someone else that opportunity, or seeing them shoot that deer or something like that they didn't have the opportunity to, is just brings me just as much satisfaction.
yeah, Dan, he's a teammate on here on the show, and we gave him permission to hunt on one of our properties, and I did everything I could to get him on a big deer. And we saw this giant. My dad and I saw. Well, I didn't see it. I'm sorry. My dad saw this giant 11 pointer. That was the only time we saw him. So, all right, Dan, we're gonna stick you here. We believe you got a good shot at it. And unfortunately, it didn't come through, but we did everything we could. And he was like, dude, this is awesome. And he was a big fisherman too. And I told him, like, Dan, you gotta try hunting, man. It's the best crack in the world, the healthiest crack in the world. And
Absolutely.
it's like, But as soon as you get into it, you think fishing equipment's expensive.
Oh,
Hunting stuff is 10 times more expensive. And then this is his second year in it, and he's starting to get more and more into it. And he's like, "Brett, you're right. I'm spending like $5,000 on all this shit." And I was like, "I told you." But he's like, "I love it so much more than I love fishing." And he grew up
yep.
fishing his entire life.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, like so my wife, like, she grew up, around it and things like that, and she really had no interest in hunting until we got married, and she's like, "Shit, I'm never gonna see you if I'm not going hunting with you." So I took her to the stand a few times, and once she kind of experienced like seeing those deer up that close and things like that, she's like, "I think I want to kill one of these." So her first year, of course, she took the gun out. I'm like, "That's fine," because Wisconsin gun season's a big deal for her family. It's a lot of tradition, a lot of fun. I'm like, "All right, first decent buck that you feel comfortable shooting, go for it." Well, of course, first one that walks out, it's a freaking like 130, 140, 11 pointer, and she just drops him in his tracks. And she was like, honestly, seeing her make a perfect shot and then go and recover him, and she was just like crying, ecstatic. I'm like, "All right, perfect, she's hooked," and she was. So it kind of gave me the free range after that. Like, whatever I want hunting, baby, we're getting it. That's fine with you. So, but yeah, just seeing the excitement of that too, and that's something I look so much forward to. Our kids will be 4 and 3, and they're really getting into the outdoors and going with dad and going on track jobs and things like that. So I'm really excited to get them into that and see them harvest their first animals too.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I remember on our first date with my wife, and I told her, well, because she was really big into fishing,
Yeah.
and I said, well, we're gonna be hopefully start dating. I said, but the one thing you got to know about me is I'm a huge hunter. So in the fall, I'm out in the woods. You're not going to see me as much. And on Saturdays, my butt sits in the couch in my chair watching college football. So that's what you're going to get. I said, you haven't dated a hunter like you haven't dated me before. She's like, all right, sure. I'll see when I believe it. And she's like, yeah, you're right. Your hunting is a lot different than the other hunters I dated before. I was like, told you.
So go big blue for you or what?
No, no,
State,
no,
state or
no, not even that. Let's say this. They're a new team in the Big Ten.
Maine?
No, here, I'll do this.
Ohio. No, Ohio State's not a new
Don't
team.
don't you say Ohio State. Don't you ever. Oregon.
Oh, that's your team is Oregon.
Yep.
Oh,
Boo!
oh my God.
Yeah, now I gotta hear the Deucer game. Boo. Whatever,
So
Deucer.
what's your relation to Oregon?
Honestly, it's the same story. My dad, how he fell in love with Notre Dame. I saw them when I was a sophomore in high school, and I just fell in love with them ever since. I started reading more about them, and next thing I know, I love Oregon, and I have Oregon stuff all in the house, and
You're
just
Duck.
became a big giant fan of them.
Hey, that's all right. That's all right. I respect college football a lot, so that's cool with me. Wherever rolls the boat.
Oh gosh, row the boat. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Minnesota, I do cheer for them. I love that school. I love that program. PJ Fleck, I'm not a big fan of, only because I've heard stories when he was, because I went to Western Michigan. I
Oh shit.
graduated. I graduated though after he was there. I just heard stories though of stuff that happened when he was at Western, and it turned me in a wrong way about him. But I do love Minnesota, that program. I do love it.
Yep, you're not gonna hurt my feelings because I'm a Badger fan till the day I die, and a Packer fan. Having parents that both went to Wisconsin and or that are from Wisconsin, it's like, nope, this is the way of life. And if you go outside that boundary, even though we live in Minnesota, you're probably no longer gonna be our kid. So that's just how it is. So, my sister went to Madison too, and after experiencing a few of their homecomings and game days, I was hooked to be a part of the Badgers, so that's all right by me. But I love the rivalry, and when I think of hunting, I think of football too because I remember so many
Mhm.
times at deer camp and hunting with buddies and friends and family that you get out of the stand, you go freaking watch college football or you go watch NFL football, and it's like just just hearing or just thinking about that is like the perfect fall for me.
It is Skull
Skull
Vikings.
Vikings. No, no,
No, it's not even
no,
close.
no.
No.
I'm on the love train. Sorry, buddy.
No, let us know in the comments what's your favorite teams out there, college or NFL. And the NFL, I'm a Chargers fan, but I'm not a big NFL guy. I love fantasy football. Don't get me wrong,
Yep,
but college football, like you said,
for sure.
the student vibe, they love it more, and just the atmosphere. You see the bands and you see the student section; they're all going crazy. And you're right,
Yeah,
fall
so much
and
better environment.
it's just you can't beat it.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm. Yeah, or my wife though, she is a Michigan fan, and I jokingly say to my kids, I'm like, "Don't you ever become a Michigan fan, or you're never going to be a part of this family ever again."
Yeah. You want Christmas presents this year? You're not being a Michigan fan.
Exactly. Hard to be a Lions fan, to be
Yeah.
honest. About as hard as
Yeah.
being a Vikings fan.
Yeah, I bet that's true.
I'm not a Lions fan. I cheer for them only because they're in Michigan, but it's great to
Yeah.
see that they had a run last year. But yeah, I'm the NFL type of guy. I'm more of a Chargers guy. And Justin Herbert, he went to Oregon, and so yeah, I got my love there.
No,
Honest,
I respect that.
I am a huge fan though of Bo Nix. Honestly, I think Bo Nix is a better quarterback than Justin Herbert.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be an exciting year. I mean, there's a lot of good draft picks that got drafted. There's a lot of changes in the free agency world, so I'm excited to see that, but I'm also excited to see college football roll out and get that going again.
What are your thoughts on the 12 team playoff? Because and
Huh.
let me say this first real quick before you go. There's been talks more about how the group of five they should have their own national championship type thing. How they should have their own playoff bracket.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it doesn't matter too much to me, but I just like watching college football, so whatever happens, happens kind of deal. But yeah, there's been so many changes with college football and the NFL lately of how they kind of do everything, especially college football, how they rechanged everything. But I just want to, at the end of the day, I just want to watch good college football and hope it's on way after I get out of the stand and hope for the best. So I'm not too worried about it. But as long as there's something on to watch.
Right. Yeah, I'll stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning watching an Oregon football game because sometimes they'll start at like 11 o'clock at night, and my wife's like, "All right, enjoy watching the game." And my son's waking up at 2:30 in the morning, and my wife comes out. She's like, "You're still awake? It's only It's halftime."
I gotta watch the game, man. This is how it
Exactly.
goes.
She's like, "You can just record it." I said, "It's not the same. It's not the same."
Do you ever watch football out in the stand?
Sometimes, yes, I'll throw like my like notifications on or something like that, and I'll watch the play by play. I do that
Yep.
sometimes.
Absolutely. I did that a lot this year too. I hunted probably more than I ever have in a long time. Just being able to have the flexibility too is the main reason why to be honest, all the other salary jobs I had before becoming a land agent, um, I'm like, I can't hunt enough. This isn't gonna work for me. So I gotta quit those jobs. But being able to have the flexibility to create my own schedule, I'm like, I hunted more than I ever have this year, and thankful for that. But yeah, I caught myself in some of the midday, when things are slow. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna see what the college teams are playing on today, and I'm gonna turn on ESPN and just put it on mute, but be able to at least watch it.
Right. I love seeing, because sometimes I'll throw in like some bets with my dad or something like that, and we'll do the over under and the total score and stuff like that. And I was like, I think this team's gonna win by 20. All right, I'll
Yep.
give you $20 if you win. I always win because I'm better than my dad. So no, it's a fun thing my dad and I like to do sometimes between each other. And it, it's- college football and hunting all together, the fall, it's the best time in my that's Christmas year round for me. I mean, in that time frame, extended version of it. You just can't beat. And then you got the leaves changing. It's getting cooler, and I'm a type of guy that I love to wear my khaki pants. My wife calls them my purse pants, and throw a nice sweater on and throw a nice bonfire going. That is the best time. in the
Oh,
fucking planet, man.
for sure. And that's like we just don't get enough fall too. Like it seems like it just blows by because I love whitetail hunting, and then I also love, like when it's hotter out, I'll go chase some grouse up here and just walk the woods and kind of scout out as I go. And I do love the occasion duck hunting too, but it just seems like fall just blows by so freaking fast, and you look forward to every year. I'm always just blown away and amazed how quick it goes by, and it's just like, dang, like if I could have hunted a few more days or done this or done that. It's like it just you take it for granted sometimes, but you obviously look forward to it all year. So it's just, I wish it lasted a lot longer than what it did. But it's like you said, it's freaking Christmas.
Yeah, my wife sometimes when I say I'm not going out hunting, she's like, "Why aren't you hunting?" I'm like, I'm not going out there. I don't think, and nothing's working right for me." So she's like, "Wait, you have like a small period of time frame to go hunt? Go hunt." And it's like, "Well, I want to see you guys. I missed you guys." And she's like, "I want deer. I want meat in the freezer. Go get your ass out in the tree and kill a deer."
All right,
And then
yeah,
exactly, I'm like, "All right, I'll see you later." But you're right. I think fall and hunting, it just goes by so quick, and we rush through the summer months and spring. We're like, all right, we can't wait to get to the fall. And next thing you know, it's finally here, and you blink and it's over. It's like crap.
oh,
Now I gotta wait
for
another
sure.
800 months before we get to fall again.
Yep. Yeah, and yeah, it's funny you say that because like I enjoy all the off season work that goes into it, and like that's very fun and rewarding, and creating all the habitat, the food plots, all put hanging stands, and then it's like you put all that work in, and then you're sitting and waiting for the day that opening season rolls by, and it's just like, holy crap, that just freaking blew by in half. Of course, in the fall, you get some of those 80 days, 70 days, the rainy days, days that you can't really hunt, and then it's like, man, that just freaking flew by. And it's like, where did all this go?
It's like you have 3 months to hunt, but you realistically sometimes you maybe have like a month total.
For sure. And that's where like we live on a little acreage too, so and I have a little kill plot in the backyard. So it's nice for those, days that are kind of a little windy or crappy that I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna go to my other spots or permission pieces or other chunks. So I'm just gonna sneak out the backyard, and sometimes you sneak out the backyard and at least you have deer activity back there. So every year I'll shoot probably one or two does right in our backyard, and sometimes they'll die right next to the kid's playset or whatever. But it makes for a fun time, and I put meat in the freezer and an easy track job too. So I'm thankful for that. But kind of same thing. It's like, shoot, if I can't hunt them, at least I'm gonna go hunt in my backyard because at least that's right there. So just having that access to that's been kind of good and dangerous at the same time.
Well, Jordan, we kind of went down a little rabbit hole there with football and stuff like that. Brian Davis coming here. Yo, hey, Brian. He's the brother of this guy we had on a Monday show. Make sure you go check that out. We went down a little rabbit hole there with some football, but don't get me wrong, I could talk football nonstop. But
Absolutely.
well, we're nearing the end of the show here. I do like to ask though, is there a story or a topic that you didn't get to share or we didn't get to talk about tonight?
Um, yeah, I would just say the biggest topic that really stands out to me is just so what really got me tied in the outdoors. It would be going back to my dad and grandpa, and I think it's a critical part of getting the next generation involved and kind of how that process. And I remember to this day, I was 3 or 4 years old. And my dad was, all right, we're gonna go hunting. You're gonna come out to the stand with me, and I'm like, all right, cool. All excited, and didn't have the right proper equipment or boots or clothes or anything, but I was excited as could be. And I just remember, he was pulling me up on a rope to the portable stand, and where that was before safety irons and all that. So he's pulling me up there and hitting branches and all that stuff. And I finally get on the portable, and we're sitting there, and all of a sudden, like a huge herd of does come by in like 20, 30 yards, and I'm just like, holy crap, like there's freaking wild animals right in front of me. And that moment just kind of got me hooked. And then, it wasn't even him shooting one or anything like that. It was just like seeing nature that close and appreciating it right there and then was, just something that I'm like, holy smokes, this is awesome. So I went to deer camp, from I was 4 to obviously now. And it's something I've always cherished and kind of look forward to. And seeing my dad kill a few decent deer along the way is really kind of fueled my passion there too. And it's something I really want to pass on. I've passed on to my wife, and now I'm passing on to our kids too, and I've taken them out a few times. And it's just seeing in a child's eyes nature and kind of those new memories and experiences is really what makes it at the end of the day for me. And be able to pass on that knowledge to the next generation from a habitat standpoint and hunting standpoint is, at the end of the day, what it's all about. Because, like you said, hunting is kind of a dying breed, and there's less people doing it too. But the more good we can share, and the more memories and opportunities and family traditions that we can share is really what it's all about. At the end of the day, is sure I want to kill big deer every day, but I get just excited seeing my old man, kill a 2.5, 3.5 year old because the smile that lights up on his face and he's happy about it. I mean, that's really what it's all about, is creating memories and enjoying with family and being able to hang out with family and friends and share some of those tailgate parties and things like that. And, sharing that knowledge and basically creating memories at the end of the day. That's really what fuels me. And what, when I'm selling land too, I'm thinking about that. I'm not just selling someone land, I'm selling them memories for a lifetime and their family, and creating opportunities that they didn't have beforehand. So that's really what kind of fuels me and drives me, and why I continue to do what I do. And excited
Yeah.
to get my kids out in the stand this year and be able to hopefully share some good times out with them too.
Big D, is that you, Darren? But Big D 5605, he commented here saying, "Spreading the true joy of the outdoors, Jordan. You're doing it right."
Appreciate that. Yeah, that's I just took my kids fishing for the first time this last weekend too, and just seeing their smiles and their faces light up when they're catching just little sunfish. I'm like, that's what it's all about right there. They'll always remember that, even what happens, they'll always remember their first, their first fish, their first deer, all of that. And so will dad and mom. So that's really what drives me and what makes me passionate about the outdoors, is just passing along.
Yeah. Yeah, my daughter, she'll be 4 in November, and my son just turned 1, and I can't wait to get them outdoors more. And right now, my daughter's more like, "Oh, let's go outside and run around and play with grass
Yeah.
and stuff like
Yep.
that." So she doesn't grasp that stuff just yet. But yeah, I can't wait to pass down my knowledge and get them outside. And at the end of the day, I'm going to love my kids if they don't want to get in the outdoors, but I'm going to do everything I can. I'm not going to push it on them, but bring
Sure.
it to light with them and stuff like that. And honestly, I really hope they do. And to be able to spread hunting and creating the memories is honestly the best feeling in the world. And I know there's a countless times where I've had instances where I've shot a deer, and my mom, she loves doing the track job with us. So
Yep.
she's like the second person outside my wife that I'll text saying, "I got a deer." She's like, "All right, sweet. I'll get the stuff around, go tracking." She gets really, really pissed when I text back saying, "We're not tracking. It's dead like 50 yards that way, so we're going to be fine." She gets really pissed. She's like, "That's my favorite part of you guys hunting outside of the food."
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so true too, is like, I don't know, just something about that. Like when my dad or brother or wife or someone I know shoots one, like I get fired up to go on that track top. It's like, all right, what'd you get? Like we're and like I gotta be the first with the flashlight to be able to find that blood too, because it's just, there's something about it. There's the camaraderie and just it's fun. And like you think about it too, at the end of the day, like you're always gonna remember those moments. Like on your day-to-day life, like a lot of things happen, but those are the core moments and core memories that you always cherish and remember. And I still remember this day, like all of the track jobs I did with my grandpa and things like that, and all the deer, big or small. But it's like all of those are core memories. And now reflecting on that I have kids, I'm like, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Like sure, we all want to kill big deer, but like don't don't speed up and forget about all of those things too, because they're just as important.
Honestly, I remember a lot of the details of the hunt itself with a lot of deer I take, because that's why I love bow hunting the most, because you get more connected with it. And I remember those details, don't get me wrong. But the things that really stand out to me the most is everything that happened around it. Outside of that, I got that deer, is telling everyone, "Oh yeah, I got this deer. I'm excited." And you're sending all these text messages, and then you get back up to the house or the cabin, and you're getting everyone loaded up to go track the deer, and then you're out there tracking, and then everyone's getting pissed because you find one spot of blood, and then you're looking around, and everyone's doing circles, and you can't find blood anymore. And then my mom she'll stay back there, and so, "All right, we find blood," and she comes up there, and finally we get the deer, and we're like, "Oh yay, finally!" And all those memories, those have been sticking with me the most, I've noticed lately, because now having my wife and kids, I can't wait for more of those moments, man. And honestly, yes, we all, as I believe 95% of hunters, we all just want to shoot the biggest deer possible. Like you said, you can't pass up those moments because next thing you know, they're just going to be flying by.
For sure. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you nailed it with that statement right there. And that's, something that gets me just as fired up and just as excited as, just being out there.
Well, Jordan, I just want to say thank you again for coming on the show, taking time out of your time, your family time, stuff like that, to come on the show. I greatly appreciate it. I know everyone out there that's watching, listening, they appreciate it as well. For anyone that wants to get in touch with you, how can they do that?
You can, reach out to me via Facebook or Instagram. Jordan Yira _outdoors is my Instagram handle. You can search me on Facebook, Jordan Yira, or I have a business page too, Jordan Yira, land specialist. You can find me there. My email, phone number, I can give it to you guys too, and they can reach out that way too. But pretty easy to find social media. I got a very unique last name that there's not many of us, so happy to connect with you guys, either land management wise or what steps it might take to purchase a property or things of that nature too. I'll be venturing out in the state of Wisconsin, getting licensed here pretty quick too, and be able to help folks in that state buy and sell land too. So, don't be a stranger. Anything hunting, I'm happy to help or happy to connect with, and very thankful that you guys had me on the show, and to be able to have the opportunity to talk to you about hunting and the great outdoors is something that means a ton to me. So I appreciate it.
Well, thanks, Jordan, for taking the time to come on again. And I know when I start getting ready to ramp up the conversations with my wife to buy property out in Minnesota, it's like, well, I know this guy out in Minnesota. He can hook us up. So, yeah.
Absolutely. I appreciate that, brother.
Well, Jordan, I hope you have a good rest of your night, man. Get back to your family time. And again, thank you again, brother. I hope you have a good rest of your night, man. We'll stay in touch.
Perfect. Likewise. Take care. Appreciate it.
See you, Jordan.
Yep. See ya. Bye.
Bye. Oh, man. Deucer's not doing his job correctly here, so we might have to just fire him here. But anyways, no, I'm just kidding, Deucer. I love you. Well, what an amazing guy, down-to-earth guy. And I feel like I can just sit down there and listen to this guy. And the fact that he's a Wisconsin fan, oh, man. Brian Davis there coming and said, discount double check. That's a good one right there. Well, everyone, thank you again for tuning into the show. I greatly appreciate it. This was episode 77. It's the last day in Minnesota. Make sure to check us out on our website at whitetailadvantage.com to stay up to date with everything that's going on. Make sure if you are watching on the website and you see us say that it's Ask the Audience. That's us saying we don't have a guest scheduled for that day, and we're opening the door to you guys. I never say no to anyone that wants to come on the show. And if you see Ask the Audience and you want to come on and you're not from that state that we're covering, it doesn't matter. You want to come on, we'll talk about whatever you want. We are Point and Waypoint TV, so go check us out there as well. And with that being said, put your quarter in the slot machine. Right there, baby. Help share the show for everyone out there that is doing it. We greatly appreciate it. And I can't say thank you enough. I love all the support everyone's out there doing. And with that being said, let's close out the night. And we'll see you guys next week for Mississippi Week. Deucer, let's take us out, my man.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Whitetail Advantage Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you next time.